And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all for being here. Well, I don't care. Nothing about that 40 times.
I ain't moving you.
Okay, nothing about how you move, Shamar Stewart. I knew you was an athlete, Shamar Stewart. Yeah. Quit running down the middle of that. They need a don't run down the middle of you drill, and I think about moving Shamar Stewart up in the damn rankings. Man, I appreciate y'all for tapping in with us today, man, on the Doing All Right. Me and Bryan doing just fine. He going to fly back home today, so we going to get one last little episode in before we get to next Monday. Bryan, we got Jamari Caldwell, defensive tackle, Oregon.
Right.
I got an interesting take on him.
Okay.
Nick Martin, linebacker, Oklahoma State. Got an interesting take on him.
Interesting take on him too. Yeah, I'm sure.
I text you about him, so you already. So we have.
I have an idea where you're going with this one.
And Quincy Riley, cornerback, Louisville. I got an interesting take on him also, Bryan.
I think we're looking at interesting guys right now that are kind of like you're trying to put them in a certain area. We're to that point where you're looking at guys and you're saying, is he better than this guy? Is he better than this guy? I mean, you kind of have an idea where you put guys, but some guys, as you mentioned, they pique your interest and they're like, damn, he looks a little bit better than this guy I watched a month ago.
I know where you at with this, Bryan. So
I know.
So two of these guys made me move other people on my board.
Bryan. I see what you're doing.
So let's get into it. Rank them, Bryan. Rank them for me.
You went. I'm going to say you went Oregon tackle first. You went Louisville corner second, and then you put the linebacker from Oklahoma State third.
So the linebacker Nick Martin is in the extras.
Okay. Yeah.
Jamari Caldwell, I have a 148 on, fourth round.
Okay.
Kind of in the back of the
near the
round.
bottom. Yeah, near the bottom. Yeah.
Quincy Riley, I got a 140, Bryan.
Okay, so he's going to go the top. Okay.
And I had to move some guys around. Let me tell you what I had to do with Quincy Riley, because I'm looking at Quincy Riley, and I don't want to be a tweener cheater. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of your.
I'm with you on that.
Like, I'm one of your draft kids. I've been hearing you hate on people for a long time for being like. So I didn't want to call him a 3-4. I had to pick.
Right.
So I put him in the 4, Bryan, and I was like, man, I like him a little more than Porter from Iowa State. You know, because Porter was in the 3rd for me, and I got Quincy in the 4. I like Quincy more than Porter. That made me put Porter in the 4 and put Quincy over him. So right now where I got it in the 3rd round, so I'll just give you like Hairston, Dotson, and then in the 4th round I got Riley. Then after that I got Porter, but I got Riley way at the top of the 4th round, Bryan. I'll just get started here, Bryan. I think so. You know, I got a soft spot for any cornerback that can find the football.
You're absolutely right about that. Yep.
Any corner that can find the football, I automatically want to bump you up the boards, right? Even if you got warts and deficiencies, I feel like I can fix your warts and deficiencies if you give me the football. So Quincy Riley, Senior Bowl guy, and the first thing I do is I go to his game logs. He got 6 damn years worth of film in the game logs, and I was like, all right. And the one consistent thing that I've seen on all of his years, or at least the years he was at Louisville, is that he gets hands on the football. That means something to me. So I watched a little bit of film on him, Bryan. I'll just start here with man coverage, right? I think he's a cool man coverage guy. I think he's a solid man cover guy. I think he has a really good feel for routes. I think he plants and drives really well. He doesn't carry wide receivers all the way across the formation, but I don't think man coverage is his strong suit. I think he's very competitive, and that helps him in the man department. Let me tell you where he shines, Bryan Broaddus. He shines in that zone, Bryan Broaddus.
Yeah.
If you throw him in these zone coverages and he get to read the quarterback and he get to just float around a little bit, he get to, get into that deep third, read them flats, cover 2, cover 3. That's where I think he's the best at, Bryan. He hops on all the footballs, Bryan. I think he has like 3 interceptions like for the past 4 years, but he has like 10 pass deflections, 9 pass deflections, 10 pass deflections, and you see him constantly getting hands on the football. I've seen him versus Miami twice. I seen him versus Notre Dame last year, and I seen him versus NC State. And when he's floating around in zone, Bryan, he does that one thing that I love from my zone corners. I'm not throwing to your receiver, but when the ball is in the air, it becomes all of our football. So he'll drift off of his guy, and he'll go and play that. I love that, Bryan. I can also feel like he got some free safety in his game. If you one of them teams want to mess around with him and put him at free safety, cool. Something I was confused about, I'm about to ask you. On ESPN, he's 6 foot. On all the other sites, he's like 5'10", so I don't know where he's at. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's a guy that could probably play outside and nickel. If a team wants to just plug him into the nickel, I think he could do all those things, Bryan Broaddus. I had a hard time ranking him, man, because I wanted to put him in the third because I love dudes that get hands on the football. But in real life, I'm probably going to like all my third-round guys more than him. So I'm putting him at the very top of the fourth. Quincy Riley, Bryan. I like him a little bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. He's 5'10". He's 192.
Okay.
For the measurements.
Put him in nickel.
He's got. Yeah. You know, and I'll tell you where I disagree with you. I think the kid can play man.
Sure.
I think the kid can play man. I think he's twitchy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's kind of could stay in phase with receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I watched him against Stanford. I watched him against Clemson.
I also watched Stanford. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, this kid transferred from Middle Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fluid moving player. And you can kind of either rotates a little bit with what's going on there at Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
But I mentioned I think he's got some twitchiness.
Sure.
I think the press man is really a good part of his game. I think he competes better that way. You talked about the off coverage. I don't think you're wrong about that. Yeah. But I kind of feel like that he's got quickness. He's got burst. He stays patient. He uses his hands. I think he can stay in position. I think he can stay connected. The footwork was really, really smooth. I think he plays with some natural instincts. I think you mentioned that with the way that like he will drop coverage to go, he sees a play. Like, listen, my dude ain't about to get the ball. Yeah. The dude inside's about to get the ball. Yeah. And he'll play that way. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know what his long speed really, really, really is, though.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think that's why I think you have to kind of play him up because he has to kind of be able to stay, and then by being connected, he could run with guys. But I don't think if somebody carries him, and you mentioned it about carrying stuff, that might be a little bit of something that we need to look at. But the change of direction, you know, I think he was one of the, you know, when you watch him, you talk about playing the football.
Sure.
He was one of the best in the country when it came to forcing incompletions. I went and looked at his metrics. I'm like, God, this guy gets his hands on a lot of balls. Yeah. He did have 11 missed tackles though this year. I didn't see a guy that was afraid of tackling. I just thought he went low sometimes. I think he had some misses that way.
Give a little bump.
I think I think there were some interceptions that he kind of fought the ball with. But you could go back and watch this dude as a punt returner.
Yeah.
So I mean, so you can't say, well, he's got poor ball skills if they put him back there as a punt returner. But there were a couple of interceptions. I felt like he kind of fought the ball a little bit. I have him in the 4th round. Now, where I have him is I've got that group that we've just kind of started watching.
Sure.
Where you got Parrish. I got Parrish over him.
Okay.
So I got Parrish, Riley, and then I got my 2 Kansas kids, and then Alexander. Those are 4th rounds. So Parrish would be like a 1.40 for me. Riley would be like a 1.42, 1.41 right behind him. But man, I like both those kids that you put me on. I think Parrish from Kansas State, he's got a role as a nickel player. I think this kid Riley, you mentioned maybe as a safety, nickel kind of a player as well. These guys are competitive. They're willing to tackle. They stay with people. They can play press man. Probably both Parrish and Riley should be on my board talking about with Hairston from Kentucky, Noel Williams from California.
Yeah.
Should be. I just see more traits with those two than I do with Parrish and Riley. But yeah. I do like him better than, like I say, the Kansas kids and then the LSU kid.
Let me tell you what I did just as an exercise, Bryan. I rewatched 3 corners. I rewatched Trey Amos, Thomas from Florida State. Yeah. And then I rewatched Noel Williams. I like Noel Williams a little more than Amos and Thomas, Bryan.
I'll tell you, Noah Williams. I think I'm too low on Noah Williams.
I got him
I've
in the
seen
second now, Brian. I got him in the second.
Oh, you know what? When you know what's going to happen? Noah Williams is going to get picked in the second, and I'm going to look at you, and I'm going to say you had him right all along. You had him right.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, like with Noah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised nobody's talking about him more when you watch him play. I mean, that is a competitive son of a gun. Now.
I bet you Gang of Seven talking about him. But
oh yeah, I need
Jeremiah and them probably
trust
not.
me.
Yeah.
Trust me, when my board's done,
Mm-hmm.
I send it to Gang of Seven and I say, rip it up. Tell me where I'm probably. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and make massive adjustments and changes all. Sure. I just do it to them to say, how far off am I? Yeah. Am I way off? Am you on point? No, you got guys. And I'm not going to move them around. Once that's my board. Like you and I were kind of talking in our pre-show meeting, like the combine is great. I love the fact we learned about, Carter potentially with the foot stuff. I'm glad we learned about guys' actual heights and weights and speed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad about that. I'm glad some of the guys worked out really well.
Yeah.
But if you tweet at me right now and say, whoa, so-and-so is working out great, I'm going to either say his film's really, really good or his film's not very good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, good for the kid. Mm-hmm. Film's not like the workout. Yeah. That's cool. But don't like massively, unless you're talking injuries.
Sure.
If all of a sudden we've learned that, okay, Carter's really got a stress fracture in his foot that might limit where, he's going to be. Okay, fine. But as far as that tape is your best friend.
Yeah.
That tape is your best friend. And, that's usually what these kids, hey, it's great how they get ready for these combines and stuff. But I like to say the Noah Williams and guys like that, I think when these cornerbacks work out, people are going to start talking about how some of these kids look and like the Parishes and the kid we just watched from Louisville.
Now, Brian, this next guy, man, we're going to talk about the tackle, Caldwell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brian, I watched him versus Boise, Ohio State twice.
Uh-huh.
And I watched him versus UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I think about him, Brian, but you tell me if I need to watch some more film. I rattled off 4 games I watched, and I wanted to keep watching them.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep watching them because I was befuddled because I messed around and I let my ears pick up on what other people think about him. And I normally don't like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a little opposite from what I think about him. So, Brian, just tell me if I need to watch some more film on Caldwell, right? So, first of all, I got him in the 4th round. He's a 148, late 4th round guy for me.
I think you got him right.
I thought he was a 330-something pound man. Or rather, I thought he was a 3-tech that was in a 1-tech's body. Uh-huh. Or he's a kid that's trying to play 3-tech while in a 1-tech body. If I see a kid that's 330 and he's playing nose and him and our other guy from Oregon, they both alternate playing nose, him and Harmon. They kind of alternate playing. They just line up at 3 and 1. They probably both noses, different kind of noses. But Brian, I was expecting to see a guy that was always taking on double teams. I expected to see a guy that wasn't going to do a bunch of flashy type moving, a guy that was going to be mostly rundown type of stuff, and maybe a pocket pusher or anything, because he's 330. That's what I assumed he was going to be.
Actually, 332 is what he measured in at, yeah.
Couple more pounds, cool. But, Brian, I thought he was a guy that was always trying to be quick guy. I thought he was a guy that was trying to shake up the people in front of him. And sometimes if you're a guy that's not really quick guy, but you're trying to be quick guy, sometimes you're standing up, not gaining ground, trying to shake people, when in real life you could have just probably ran through that guy. I thought when he did play the 3-tech game, I didn't think that he played with power. I thought that he played with weight and leverage, which is cool. He's 6'1", so he's relatively shorter. So in those handful of flashes that I did see him doing a 1-tech's job, he'll get down on the knee and take a double team. I felt like he was cool doing that because he was heavy and because he had the proper technique to deal with that double team. I was like, all right, That's a one text job right there. But I felt like other
Right.
times he was trying to move sideways a lot. I felt like he was trying.
Yeah.
And look, he's a solid moving 332-pound guy. I'm like, all right, cool, bet. But maybe somebody got to tap him on the shoulder, like, hey, this is your job as a one tech.
Right.
But maybe that's
Right.
confusing him because they'll line him up in B gap. They'll line him up in B gap and run a stunt with him, or they'll make him pass rush somebody, or they'll just make him penetrate and get upfield. I think he can play penetrator and get upfield because I think he got some decent quickness on the inside to kind of get upfield a little bit.
Right.
But I wanted him to play like he was 320 pounds or 332 pounds. So maybe that's just gonna take coaching and tapping him on the shoulder, like, hey, do this next time, do this. But hey, he was a cool player. I think he's a toolsy guy. He's a guy that has traits, and you can develop him. Like I said, he's a good moving 332. I just want him to consistently play nose and not play 3-tech in your 330-pound body, your 332-pound body. Bryan, do I need to watch more film on Caldwell, or are we on the same page?
No, I think you've got him right. I think to me there
because pardon me, because Daniel Jeremiah went on TV yesterday and said, "Oh yeah, he's a big run stuffer. He gonna sit down on." I'm like, man, Daniel Jeremiah, this dude's a pocket pusher a little bit. But please, I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. I think that and everybody everybody's doing different work on this guy. This guy is massive. I mean, he's 332 pounds, and I think he moves well for his size. I think you pointed that out. His history, he was a junior college player. He went from junior college to University of Houston and then on to Oregon. And you do see some natural leverage with him, the pad level, the strength, the power. His size can make him difficult at times to move. When blockers have had success against him, is they get him going one direction and then they just push him that way. Like they don't even worry about trying to cut him off or anything like that. They just try and pin him to one side and then bring the ball back the other. But I did see lateral agility for the position. I thought he had some short area quickness. I do think he will try, as you mentioned, try to win with quickness. And then there's snaps where he's doing that, and then others he's not. And you see him shoot the gap, catch a block, quick arm over. I kind of don't see this as a one scheme guy, because you can see him two gap some, but you also see him shoot the gap. And I think that's what you're kind of talking about. What type of player does he need to be at 332 pounds? Does he need to be a two gap guy, or does he need to be a shoot the gap guy? So I wonder if teams will look at him in a way of like, listen, for a big man, there's some scheme flexibility with him, but you do see like longer blockers get to him. I don't think he has great length for the position, but he does eat up space. But what I worry about him is, like I was talking about earlier, running out of plays. Like he wants to get to somewhere, and then they just kind of force him over there and pin him to that side. When he's a square player, he's a hard guy to deal with. But teams are going to have to figure out, he's going to be early downs, short yardage. I kind of think that's the best path for him, but there is some sneaky pass rush to his game when he's asked to do that. So I could see where you're like, okay, is this dude playing? Is he a two gapper or is he a one gap guy? I think he's got a little bit of both in his game. And sometimes he gets away with it and other times he doesn't. Teams will probably have to hone in on him and say, you're a 332-pound nose. Right. Here you go. Be that guy. Go down to the one knee, take on the double teams, get off the single blocks if you can and get in on plays and be hard to move. But you're right. He is a pocket pusher, but you will see an occasional arm over, like more moves for that kind of guy. Like you said, 3 technique in a 1 technique's body, really.
Yeah. Bryan, how I have my 4th round tackles ranked right now. Collins, Texas, Peebles from VTech.
Yeah.
Deion Walker was right down there in that 4th, Bryan. I got Farmer from Florida State, and then I got Caldwell right there at the very end of those guys.
Yeah, I've got, when you're looking at those, I've got Caldwell in the 1 technique category.
Okay,
but Collins, Texas, West Indiana, and then Jordan Phillips, and then Caldwell, all in the 4th round. So Collins, West, Phillips, Caldwell. That's how I've got the 4th round as far as the 1 techniques. And then on the 3 side, it's Peebles, Farmer, Pegues on the 3 technique side in that 4th round area.
Bryan, Jamari Caldwell from Oregon or Josiah Stewart, the edge from Michigan?
Same round. If you look further down, they're both probably in that range, as you mentioned, like a 1-4, 1-4-8, 1-4-9. Probably have the edge a little bit better there than the tackle is what I would say.
Bryan, Parrish or Jonah from Zona?
Parrish, the corner from Kansas, or Jonah from Zona. Boy, you got me right in the same round too. Parrish probably a 1-4-0. Jonah probably. Give me Parrish from Kansas State on that one.
Okay, so you got Parrish much higher. So now I want to ask Caldwell or Jonah from Zona.
I would probably take Jonah from Zona.
Okay, see, I know you love Parrish, so he's up there. Jonah's in the middle. So
Parrish and Riley both would be up there for me.
So you got
Caldwell. Parrish or Riley, either one over Caldwell, but Jonah, I think from Zona, the guard, over Caldwell, the tackle from Oregon.
So you got Caldwell down there with the safeties there. You got Caldwell or Sanker or Sanker.
Yeah, I would take Sanker over Caldwell.
Okay, Caldwell's at the very end. I got you, bro. I got you.
Yeah.
Man, Bryan, I tried to extend the conversation with Riley and Caldwell just to kind of pad a little time for us. I don't have a lot of nice things to say about Nick Martin. You know, we was on the draft show couple days ago, man, and
those guys were raving about Nick Martin.
Hey, man, brother Kyle and brother Tommy said write that name down. I say who? Let me write it down. I went on my PFF board. PFF had him in the 200s. I say somebody lying. So one of y'all lying now. Man, Bryan, I cut the film on, man. Take a look at old Nick Martin. I feel like he's a solid moving character. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I feel like he just always moving the wrong way. Bryan.
It's amazing how many tackles he had.
I mean,
he's like a tackling machine. It's hey, you know, he measured in a little smaller too, by the way.
Yeah.
From it almost like kind of almost like a safety if you look at how our UCLA kid, by the way, Carson Swessinger,
yes sir.
6'3", 242. That's a good.
I take that. That's a good size.
That's a good bump because we were looking at him as a 229 guy at UCLA. So he definitely put on some weight. So I think that's a good thing for him.
Good bump.
But I'm looking up Nick Martin. He measured in at 6 foot 221. And he only made 5 starts this season because of injury.
Yeah.
But I think the undersized frame for the position that might turn some clubs off. It is incredible though. He will make tackles. But the thing about him is, and this is where I struggled with him, is like you did. I don't see instincts with this guy. I'm not sure that he always sees the play. Play strength, physicality, I think are okay. There's times where there's pop in his tackling. There's some physicality.
Yep.
I kind of felt like this guy needed to be a will linebacker, and just let him run because I didn't see outstanding cover. They blitzed him occasionally. I didn't see much of a plan when he attacked the pocket to bring the power that he plays with. He just kind of throws his body around and he's like giving himself up.
Yep.
And he just runs into blockers and bounces off them to make plays. But I didn't think there were times where he saw the crosser or had a feel for the receiver behind him in zone. I just wondered if there was any real awareness for him in coverage. The ball got around the corner on him a couple of times where he didn't fight through the trash well enough. The effort, the competes, but the old saying, he plays like a bull in a china shop. I mean, he's just kind of banging into things and stuff like that. And I just didn't see the awareness, the body control, but there's no question about his toughness. I just don't know. Like I said, he's 6 foot, he's 221. He does make tackles, but man, he is just so reckless the way he plays. I just, the coverage part of it, I'm like, he didn't see the crosser. He's picking his own guys.
Yeah.
Like he's so frozen and trying to read.
Sometimes he wouldn't even move. Sometimes he wouldn't even move.
Didn't even move.
Yep.
I know. I couldn't figure it out. And you wonder, is he seeing it? Is he taught to play that way? Because the ball is gone and he's still standing in a spot. And I'm going, please tell me he's being taught to do this, that he's not just, but there were times he was picking his own guys on crossing routes just because he wasn't moving or flowing, and then it hurt him to getting to the ball. But I don't know, man. That's one of those things when the tape shows some deficiencies in the player. But man, when he does tackle, there is a physical element to him. I just wonder if the instincts, is that something he's going to struggle with at the next? So we've seen it with Clark here, for the Cowboys, and we've seen,
I think Clark was a little better at LSU. I think Clark kind of went backwards once he got here.
It's strange that he went from being a guy that made a ton of plays to a guy that in the pros that didn't really find the ball or see the ball well enough. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I agree with where you have this kid. When you start to talk about the Lindenbergs, Kaiser, Bossa, Carter from Clemson, Martin, they're all those guys down. I think that maybe Lindenberg might be out of this group, would be the better of the group. But it's kind of a group of linebackers, I think, that in some ways they're not up there with like King and Paul and Knight and Stutzman and Simon. Those guys I have in the fourth. These other guys, but Martin and those guys, prove me wrong, but his tape does not show me a very instinctive linebacker. I'm sorry. That's just how it is.
Bryan, that's a fantastic report, man. But I think you wasted a little ink on that, man. All you needed was the two sentences I gave you. He moved well, but he moved in the wrong direction. That's all you had to say. Bryan, and I don't want to kick a guy or nothing like that. I would love.
No, you're just evaluating a guy, but literally he does. His numbers show that he makes tackles.
Sure,
but he is also he struggle with instincts. He could probably make a billion tackles if he had better instincts. But you watch him and it's like he didn't see it. He's not aware. I'm not going to say I had a problem with it because it was pretty consistent the way he played.
Hey man, if I ain't got nothing nice to say, I don't want to say too much, man. But he's down there in my extras, and I don't rank the extras. They are just listed in the order in which I watched them.
No, they'll get drafted, and we'll be able to talk about them a little bit, and will be the conversation. I know that Tommy and Kyle, maybe they're doing a little stat book scouting there.
It's all right.
A little stat book.
I'm gonna put this dude on kickoff.
Now we're throwing Tommy and Kyle under the bus.
That's what I told you. That's what we do. They should fight us on some of our takes, I guess. But
I agree on that. I wish they would.
We don't be wrong though. Bryan, last week you told me Voch need to knock some of these linebackers out. Bryan, I think I was greatly underwhelmed with watching these guys. We watch about 6 of them, and I like the kid from Ohio State, the kid from Penn State, and the kid from Oklahoma. Besides that, man, the linebackers really didn't impress me too much, man.
Yeah, you know what, Voch? I went through a list, and I got some more names of some guys. I might try and forward them to you as well. Okay. People were telling me about this Teddy Buchanan from Cal.
Okay.
There's a Eugene Asante from Auburn. that we may need to look about, and then Jalen McLeod from Auburn's another one. So I'll get them all to you. But like I say, there's probably a couple more corners that we need, and then Aisha brought up this Ja Joyner, this edge from Minnesota.
Yeah.
I'm interested in him, and then also a David Walker from Central Arkansas is another one that I need to maybe get on your radar if I could. But I'll throw you some names.
Send me the list and I'll decide. I'll decide the next 10 because I'm starting to lose my trust in my peers. You understand me? I'm starting to lose a little trust in my peers.
No, these are some Gang of Seven guys. These are some Gang of Seven guys.
Okay,
so I was just. But people were telling me about Drew Kendall, the center from Boston College.
Yeah.
Taj Brooks, we've not talked about, the runner from Texas Tech. Yeah, and then this Ja Joyner from Minnesota. Aisha had him. So.
To be fair though, Bryan, I am currently at 138 players. You might be at like 142. We're still floating around the fourth round. So I don't know how other people watch film. I start at 1 and I go down the list. I think some people just watch their favorite school first, or they just watch just anybody.
Or if you're Jeff Kavanaugh, you just watch all wide receivers.
Or just watch, you know what I'm saying? But so we just kind of we have an order, a system. We going in, but send me your 7th round guys that they told you to watch.
Okay, I'll be happy to send you. I'll get you a list of guys and you tell me what you think, and we'll go for it. Unless you want to do it, I'm going to watch these guys. I said, I'm just going to watch.
I want to be on the same page with you. Send me the list. I'm going to cross confirm with this damn PFF list just to see.
Well, what? No, we're PFF. Oh, you're kind of banking on them right now.
I'm not look. I'm not trusting PFF, but they've been righter than some of our peers about these guys. So
you're not. Yeah,
I'm just gonna cross connect a little bit and see where we at. But send me the list and we'll and I'll make you a brand new batch of 10 and we'll do it again.
Well, make me a batch of 10, and then I will
send me your
whatever
list.
I want to see. I want to see your batch of 10. I want to see if any of my names are on your batch of 10. Right, do cool. that. How about that?
We will do that. But I do want to see because I don't have a gang of 7. I got Foots and Will still. You know what I'm saying?
Your gang of 2 is probably better than my gang of 7.
Aisha Jeff, you know what I'm saying? I just got YouTube friends. But we will
YouTube friends do a good job. They do a good job.
They are fantastic, Bryan Broaddus. But we will cross this bridge. I will curate that list and get it to you Saturday, Bryan, and we'll do this all over again next week. Good. Pleasure working with you, sir. Safe travels. You know what I mean? Get on that plane and land safely. Y'all go in the comments and tell us what y'all think about some of these guys. Did you like them? How did you rank them? Where you at with Nick Martin? If you ain't nothing nice, don't say that at all. And we'll be back with y'all Monday. All right, VOCHLOMBARDI and BRYN Broaddus. We'll catch y'all next time. We love y'all to pieces. Crown.